Mobile gaming makes more money than PC and console combined. Candy Crush has generated over $20 billion in revenue since 2012. Clash of Clans has been in the top grossing charts for over a decade. Genshin Impact crossed $1 billion in mobile revenue within 6 months of launch. Most studios still treat mobile as the smaller version of a real project. That's the mistake. Because mobile isn't some kind of a reduced game, it's a different production discipline. Mobile holds 55% of the global gaming market. Over 3.6 billion people play games on their phones. Helix Jump, a bouncing ball game, hit 334 million downloads in 2018, outpacing Fortnite in installs that year. The audience isn't hardcore gamers. It's people in queues, on commutes, between meetings, people who have never bought a console and never will. It's a different market entirely, with different players, expectations, and rules for what makes a game work. Studios that don't understand this difference don't just make worse mobile games. They make games that fail at the systems level before anyone plays them. A console player will gladly sit through a 20-minute tutorial, while a mobile player gives you 5 seconds before they close the app. Every design decision follows from this. No loading screens between levels, no complex onboarding, no mechanics that require explanation. The game has to be readable in one glance and satisfying in under 3 minutes. Clash of Clans looks the way it looks on purpose. Bold outlines, high color contrast, large silhouettes, everything readable on a 6-inch screen at a distance. It's an art direction built around a constraint, and it has held up for 13 years. Royal Match does the same thing. The first level takes 30 seconds. The player understands the mechanic before they've consciously thought about it. This level of instant readability is harder to achieve than it looks. It requires more discipline than designing for a screen where you can afford to be complex. A console controller has over a dozen inputs. A keyboard has hundreds. A mobile player has 2 thumbs on glass. Every mechanic in a mobile game has to be designed around this. Helix Jump is 1 finger rotating a platform. That's it. The entire game. The constraint produced the mechanic. It changes the architecture of gameplay itself. Mechanics that are trivial with a thumbstick become engineering problems on a touchscreen. Camera control, precision aiming, complex inventory management, all of it has to be rethought or removed. Studios that port PC games to mobile without rebuilding the control system don't get a mobile game. They get a PC game that's extremely frustrating to play. On PC, you can target a specific hardware range. On the console, every unit is identical. On Android, there are thousands of active device configurations, different processors, different GPU architectures, different amounts of RAM, different screen densities. A game that runs perfectly on a flagship phone can overheat a mid-range device or crash on a budget one. Then there's iOS. Fewer devices, but Apple's submission guidelines are stricter than any platform certification process in the industry. One technical violation fails the review. Getting through it is a production step in itself. Optimization for mobile runs through the entire production. In asset creation, how shaders are written, how audio is managed, how the build is structured. Studios that treat it as a final step spend weeks undoing decisions that were made in the first month. On mobile, 85% of revenue comes from in-game purchases after a free download. This changes how the entire game is built. The reward loop, progression pacing, economy, and points where players encounter IAP, all of it has to be designed together from day one. You cannot separate the monetization layer from the game layer on mobile. They're the same layer. Game developers that finish building a mobile game and then ask, where do we put the purchases, almost always rebuild the game. In mobile games, the economy has to be in the design document. Iron Order 1919 is a real-time strategy game available on mobile and browser. It has over 8 million players across 150 countries. Kevuru Games produced the 3D character and environment art for the project. Infantry units, mechs, vehicles, built to work within the visual and technical constraints of a cross-platform mobile title. The art had to read clearly at the scale of mobile strategy games' display units. Small, often moving, seen from above. Every model was built with that context in mind, not adapted to it after the fact. That's the difference. Mobile production is about building every part of the project with difficult constraints as the starting point. Mobile is the largest gaming platform in the world. It demands a production approach built around its constraints from the first decision. In design, in art, in technical architecture, in monetization. Kevuru Games develops mobile games for iOS and Android across casual strategy and RPG genres, and produces game art and systems for cross-platform titles.